Hello and welcome to Mr. Irrelevant's Fantasy Football Show. I'm Grant,
And I'm Nick.
and today we're going to be talking about Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders. But first, we just want to say we're thankful for all the comments, the likes on our last few videos. It's been really cool. We always like talking. And if you guys have any questions about this video or any previous ones, feel free to hit us up in the comments. We're currently working on our December subscriber goal. We're trying to get to 100. And we're slowly making our way up there. People subscribe. But we always appreciate the dialogue.
Yeah, always do.
We are making this channel because we like to talk about football. And talking with you is great.
That's what we do.
So, let's see.
All right, so let's jump in. So, first of all, who is Josh Jacobs? He was a running back that was selected
24th overall.
24th overall. Thank you.
Draft.
Thanks for
You're
covering
welcome.
me.
No, I'm an encyclopedia at times about this. Useless, like semi-useless information was
There you go.
right in there.
So he's not a super elusive back, but he's also not your typical ground and pound. He's kind of leans towards that ground and pound.
Yeah.
Not a great pass catcher back, but he does have a lot of upside with the TDs. He's got one in just about every game. So where he really makes his mark is those TDs. And again, as far as PPR goes, you could definitely find better options out there.
Yeah.
And then
He's only crossed over 100 twice.
Yeah,
This season.
yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So lack of efficiency.
Let's go into some of his stats for his game averages. Josh Jacobs is averaging
So he's
20.2 carries per game, about 77.7 yards per game. He's averaging a 3.76 yards per carry.
And that's averaging out his yards per carries. That's not like taking – it's basically saying if you look at a game, what is he likely to have? It's not based on his total yards divided by carries.
Right.
His total yards divided by carries is
3.85.
His season average is 3.85.
Yeah.
But if you look at his games, he is likely to have around a 3.76. Tiny difference, but it kind of tells his tale of some of his efficiency issues.
Yeah. So, again, 20 touches a game, almost 78 yards a game. He does average 3.3 targets per game, 2.6 catches per game, 16.5 passing or receiving yards per game, with a 5.24 yards per catch per game. So that's a quick rundown on his stats.
And not like
which
Ferrari level.
It's not terrible. It's solid.
Yeah,
it's certainly a solid back.
And I think that's the tale of Josh Jacobs this season. He puts up occasionally big fantasy numbers. In week 10 he put up a big one, and then week 1. But it's getting there. It's the volume that gets him there, I think.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you had that 1 week where he had 31 carries.
Yeah, which
not sure that's sustainable, but when he can get there.
Yeah, that's like turn your body into dust volume there. So
it is. It is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
that is something to look at. I definitely don't think he has that much PPR upside. Would you say kind of average?
Kind of average PPR upside.
Below average.
But again, the touchdowns are where I think he's, he's going to get probably at least one per game.
Yeah. So
that's huge.
Yeah, he's averaging around 0.8 touchdowns per game. I think that is pretty considerable. Like his TD upside really helps him because he does have efficiency problems and he's not a great receiver. So even in PPR and standard, he still is in both formats, full point PPR and standard, the number 5 overall running back as of now, which is post week 10.
Pretty darn good.
That's pretty good. You want to see generally, you want a top 5 back.
You want a top 5 back, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe rock some Benny Snell? No? But that brings me...
I know someone who would, but...
oh, no. So you go to Devontae Booker. I'd say he's pretty similar back in the same... He's very similar to Josh Jacobs and how they function. I think he generally has been pretty irrelevant up until the last 3 games.
Up until the last 3, yeah. Well, he had that one game where he had 7 attempts back in week 5 against the
Yeah,
Chiefs.
that's true. But then now all of a sudden 5, 8, and 16.
Yeah, all of a sudden you're seeing that increase.
Yeah, what do you think of that? And he wasn't bad with those. He in that game 5 carries for 29 yards, 8 carries for 68 yards, and 16 for 81. 1 and 2 touchdowns in those last 2 games.
The guy's incredibly efficient.
Yeah, he's averaging 5.24 on the season. Not on the season, on a per game basis.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
It'd be interesting to see, because I mean we know Josh Jacobs is a tough runner. We know his durability. We haven't seen that yet with Booker. So it would be interesting, I think, to see Booker get an increase. Not that I want that, because I do like Jacobs, but if they were to game script him one time just to see what he could do with 20 carries,
and they got
could
close.
he maintain that efficiency?
Well, he did.
That'd be interesting.
2016, he did. He had a 5.06 was his yards per carry in the game.
I
2 touchdowns.
Carries.
And he threw in a reception for a rockin'
2 yards.
So neither of them are receivers.
Yeah.
So that's really a situation. I think they're keeping Booker more as insurance. I don't think he's direct competition.
No, I don't.
It's kind of like a situation, in my opinion, like a less glamorous. Gosh, couldn't do that. Less glamorous.
Couldn't take that.
Situation of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, I'd say. So, yeah, I think you don't really have to necessarily worry as much. I know recency bias, everyone's going, oh my gosh.
Who is this Booker guy? Yeah.
This Booker guy, he's ruined my life. What's happening? What's he doing? My fantasy team's trash now. Hold up.
I think you're going to be fine. If you've got Josh Jacobs, you're going to be fine. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of, I know when you were putting together some of this research, you talked about what you called game script.
Yeah.
And you were saying basically that's not necessarily their actual plan, but whether or not it broke that way, whether or not they're getting blown out or they're blowing somebody out.
Yeah, there's like blowout, and then there's the Drew Lock throw the game away.
Yeah.
4 interceptions in the week 10. That gives you a ton of opportunity. So there was a lot of opportunity to go around between Josh Jacobs and Devontae Booker. And that's why it was a very vibrant ecosystem. They're both like, oh, look, a football over here, a football over here. Decent yards per carry, good production, touchdowns for both of them. I believe they both got 2 touchdowns in that game, both over 20 fantasy points in PPR.
Totally incredible.
That's a pretty vibrant ecosystem. I wouldn't expect that every week, but the person that's going to come at the expense of is going to be Booker. They're dedicated.
Probably you're right.
They're dedicated, in my opinion, to Josh Jacobs.
I think he's the number one for sure.
There's I noticed something interesting. So you referenced the game script.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was looking and I labeled all the games they've currently played in terms of whether or not it's favorable, which that means, they're closing out the game. They're having their running backs do all the work, putting the babies to sleep.
They've dominated from start to finish.
Yeah, they're putting the babies to sleep. Yeah. And then you have a back and forth close game. Then your blowout where they're getting wrecked. Which that's only happened twice. There's a very competitive Raiders team. So like you have close game scripts. Like they had the Panthers 34-30. You have the Chargers game 31-26. You have the Chiefs game. You have these back and forth types of games. Still okay for Booker and, mainly just Jacobs. Jacobs is the one who's going to be doing fine there. He's more relevant in those situations.
Yeah, I think that's probably because the Raiders, they know what to expect. They know what they're going to get with Jacobs.
Yeah, I think they're going.
So when they're in a game, that they need something, but they can't just sit back. They're going to give it more to Jacobs because they know they can expect 3.5 yards per carry.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the situation you're looking at, and you're not going to see every game you look at. You're not going to see a situation where you have the Patriots blowing out the Raiders, and they're probably not going to be blowing out that many people the rest of the season, and the way it's looking. And the Buccaneers.
I see one blowout on this schedule. I see one.
That's true. So then the remaining schedule for the Raiders is going to be versus the Chiefs, which is the 22nd ranked run defense in fantasy football, at the Falcons, number 9. Then you have at the Jets, 26, Colts, number 4, very good run defense, just very good defense at all.
Yeah.
That's a game I would put notes next to it. Remind yourself, pay close attention.
Yeah.
I think that game could really cause some problems for this team and Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs has actually been game scripted out in 2 games. That would be, let's see. So he's been game scripted out against the Bucks and the Patriots. Those are 2 games where he had below average performances, averaging right around 7.2 points a game against these tough run defenses. So I think you can expect something around that range against the Colts. I wouldn't be very excited to play him that week, but everything else, maybe except Dolphins and Chiefs. Those are a little questionable.
Those are questionable.
I have seen
certainly
people
questionable.
run on the Dolphins before, and the Rams were able to do it.
Yeah, but they've got that 3-headed monster, which is interesting.
And I believe Chase Edmonds did good things against the Dolphins as well.
Oh, yeah, that was a good game for him.
He did the thing.
That was a good game for him.
Yeah, so I think that's possible. I would just be – that's a little stressful. That's your finals week, so there's a chance something could go wrong.
That's the championship, isn't that?
Yeah, it's championships.
It's week 16, so.
So basically, I would keep an eye out for those. Where basically you have Colts number 4, Chargers 24, Dolphins 20. Dolphins aren't an elite run defense, but they are a tough team, and they can surprise you.
They're a tough team. Brian Flores always gets him to play every week.
Really impressed me.
Gets him ready.
It's always cool to see a good new coach.
It is. It's a lot of fun. I will say that I do wonder, because you were kind of talking about his floor with those bad games as being 7 points.
Yeah.
Which, not great. I'm not going to say that you want that. But
and it's
before dumping or benching Jacobs in that championship weekend, if you make it there.
I wouldn't worry about the Dolphins as much.
Not necessarily.
Just think about it,
If you've got somebody that has a better floor than 7 points, certainly start them. But 7 points isn't horrible.
I'd say odds are, by the way, a lot of you probably drafted Jacobs near the mid to end of first round, say in redraft leagues.
Probably.
So you're starting him week 16. I think he's viable. You just have to beware the Colts game. I would be very careful with that. Yeah, so in the fantastic game scripts, he's averaging around 18.6 points per game, and the back and forth games, 20 points. And the reason behind that is touchdown variance. So really, he's viable in great to average game conditions. It's just those really, really bad games he can get game scripted out. Be aware of that. And
as can most running backs. They can just get game scripted out.
So I guess now we'll head into a brief recap here, and I guess we're going to be starting a new rating system. I'm excited to bring it up. So we have a storm-based system, the Fantasy Storm. Will your ship survive? So looking
to go along with our forecast.
Yeah, because we're forecasting for you guys. So we start off fantastic, clear sky, smooth sailing, right?
Smooth sailing.
Then you have slightly cloudy, some winds showing up. Then you have rain. Then lightning. And then the Category 5 Fantasy Storm. It'll sink even the most sturdy ship. You're done. You don't want to do that. But if I had to rank Josh Jacobs on this situation, I would likely say that he'd fall in the slightly cloudy category.
Okay. I probably would agree with you.
Yeah.
My reasoning for that would be, again, you've got a couple of games there which are going to be tough.
Yeah.
Like the Colts, the Chiefs.
Mainly the Colts.
The Colts is going to be tough. And
the Colts are in a tier of their own. That's the scary.
They are. They're a fantastic front seven.
Yeah.
I do think the Chiefs will come ready with an edge to play because that's where their one loss comes from the Raiders. And so in the rematch, I think they'll come ready to.
And the Raiders did the victory lap. Yeah.
They did. You
don't give teams reasons to play really well, and they have a reason to be angry in that game. So I'd be interested to see that.
So just finishing off here, you do have a couple of. Well, really, you have one nice game that we know Jacobs is going to do well in, and that's the Jets.
Yeah.
By the time it gets back to the Broncos, season's already over. That's week 17, so fantasy football's over at that point.
That's irrelevant here.
So that's kind of irrelevant.
So I guess you want to do a brief pros and cons, and we're gonna we're gonna say Josh Jacobs here is, wait for it, in the slightly cloudy.
He's in slightly cloudy.
Just mainly because the Colts.
The Colts is going to be probably an ouch.
Yeah, the Colts will probably be an ouch, and that's week 14. Some leagues are starting playoffs at that point, depending on your.
I think one of my leagues is starting in the. Yeah.
I think it's our league. We have week 14, 15, 16. It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
So
actually, both my leagues will be in the playoffs at that point.
I guess I'll rattle off some pros.
We've got pros and cons.
Yeah, I'd say the number one pro for me is the volume that Josh Jacobs gets. He's getting tons of volume. Might not be the most efficient. Seems like it's almost guaranteed, except in those exceptionally bad games that can show up every once in a while. Booker's not really a huge threat, so he's had some job security, and he's getting that goal line work, so he's getting some touchdown upside.
He's that heavier back.
You want to be Mr. Negative and run on the parade?
I'll get to do the negatives. How fun.
Yeah.
So, first of all, he's not the most efficient back. I mean, he's good when he gets the volume, but when you're averaging, 3 to 3.5 yards per carry, which is what that's been the trend this year.
Yeah.
That's not ideal. So there is that.
Yeah.
The other thing is, in order to have the 20-point games, he's going to need to get roughly 30 points, 30 carries a game.
Yeah.
And you just can't do that for very long. You might be able to throw in one or two games here.
Unless he gets the touchdowns.
Sure. And he'll probably get one touchdown per game at least, maybe two. But again, that 30 attempts per game is pretty unsustainable. He might be able to do it once to twice more, but probably not.
Yeah, and then the PPR upside's not there.
Again, like I mentioned in the very beginning of this video, he doesn't have that PPR upside. Mm-hmm. What he does have is the TD upside, but the PPR upside just really isn't there. Mm-hmm. And then finally, the schedule's not easy, except for the Jets game.
Yep.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah, and mainly starting off your playoffs with the Colts, that's never, really ever anything. Yeah. That's not something you want to do.
No.
That's like just having like the worst possible thing. Your first step, just immediate injury.
It's going to be really hard for him.
That's a bad game. So, I had DK, not DK Metcalf. Who was it against the Colts that played? Who did the Colts play last week? Oh yeah, there was AJ Brown.
Oh yeah.
AJ Brown, and like all these receivers.
Titans got shut down.
Yeah, they're really good at shutting down. It's kind of a similar situation. I know what I was going to say. It's kind of a similar situation to playing a receiver against the Rams. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like the content, maybe leave a like and
subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. Yeah, Nick wants some subscriptions, but leave some comments too. We love to hear what you guys have to say. We really appreciate feedback. And anything helps at these early stages. So thank you, and I guess we'll see everyone in the next video.